Howdy, howdy. Welcome on in to the pre-show before the free show. It's a game day, Tup.
It is a game day. Got my game day attire on, wearing a Dave Campbell's Texas football hoodie.
I feel like that's your everyday attire, but
it really
maybe
is.
every day's game day.
It really is.
If you make it.
It really is. And I just, Pickle, one of the things I really enjoy about Thursdays is it's just you and I in the studio. We don't have to worry about any near-do-wells.
No, there's
in.
no one else in
what?
here. Whoa, what was that?
What?
Well,
what?
Oh, it's Guy!
Oh, it's Guy Frazier. Our buddy Guy Frazier who stopped by.
How are we?
Hey, man. DeMarvion Overshown will be back for the Baylor game. What are your thoughts on that?
I'm very excited. Demo's my guy.
Okay.
That's
Agent Zero.
Agent Zero.
All the
I like that.
wristbands and sweatbands and all that.
Craig Way is very good about calling him Agent Zero on the radio broadcast
He is?
too. Yeah, he's very good. Like whenever he comes up with a big play, it's always Agent Zero comes up big.
I actually have a story that I think Guy will appreciate. But my dad was a longtime Longhorn season ticket holder, and as he would sit at the game, I never knew what he was doing as a kid because he always had a headphone in, and I was like, what? But he had a little portable radio so he could listen to Craig call the game.
Was it the little yellow Walkman?
Yeah, kind of.
That everybody had like in the late 90s?
Yeah, my dad, it
2000s?
didn't matter what year it was. He would always make sure that he had it so he could put one headphone in and he would listen to us talk, but then also be able to hear Craig at the stadium while he was there.
That is that's the move. And I don't know if they still do it on Longhorn Network, but there was a minute there where what they would do would be they would have a simulcast. And it would basically they basically have like the online ESPN.com gamecast
with his voice
on the screen with Craig over the top of it. And they were doing like beauty shots of Austin and stuff like that because they can't show the game, or they didn't want to show the game because it's probably on ESPN or something.
Right.
But it was I always enjoyed that. It was like a StatCast with.
It was an Equate Walkman is what he said. He's in the comments. He also, when he saw Guy, put thigh really big
thigh, baby.
in the comments.
Being shown today. It's a little chilly outside.
It's too chilly for the thigh.
I have a question. Like we hear a lot about the skies being out.
Yeah.
Does the same rule apply whenever it's this cold though? For the thighs being
Sun's
out.
out, thighs out.
Thighs out, skies out, thighs out.
We can hear the wind right now when it's blowing a gale outside. That makes it a little chilly on the skin.
You have such confidence in your.
Yeah, I wish I could
legs.
lose 10 pounds right now. That would help, but it's okay.
So it's
football.
It's Thigh Frazier, and then
we
we
burly right now.
It's football season. Everybody.
It's bulking season.
It's bulking season. Exactly
Everybody's
right.
getting big,
Everybody's bulking
because
up.
we can just put on more layers of clothes and just hide it.
That's exactly right. That's my plan.
I look like a linebacker, like a running back right now.
Yeah.
Whereas normally you're like
I look
normally
like
we're
a little cornerback.
yeah normally we're thinking like maybe like free
receiver,
safety, something like that.
Nickel.
Yeah. Actually, nickel. That's exactly.
That's
where
a good
you
one.
play. Yeah, you
played
played.
DV back
Yeah,
in the day.
you played.
So.
Did you really?
And then I hurt my knee, and it was like, let's just go play basketball.
Okay.
So.
Yeah. So that tracks.
It doesn't.
I was gonna say.
more
It
knee
doesn't. A lot of people
tweaking.
over at Highland Park were like, "Why are you quitting?" And I was just hell bent to quit.
I hurt my throwing arm, so I'm gonna go play baseball. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
No, none of it really made sense. My father would tell you the same thing, but
Yeah.
when you're 15 years old, you don't want to hear that.
So let me ask you: you are much like Step, much like Mike Roach, much like Ashley Pickle. You are a traveling man. Pickle, you're a traveling woman. I want to be clear about that.
Yeah, she travels too.
Holding it down.
What's on the I-10, the old I-10?
Yeah. So tonight, Step and I are actually going to be together. We're not traveling there together, but I will be at Wichita Falls Memorial for Plainview and Wichita Falls Old High. Plainview's got a running back, Chromo Collins, who's the cousin of my buddy Zach Collins, the O-line coach.
His first name is what?
I think it's Coromo. Is that correct?
Awesome.
Coromo?
I don't know.
He
I'm
doesn't
asking
even
you
go.
for
I don't think he even goes by his name, actually. I think he goes by his nickname. But I'm meeting him for the first time tonight. So if I'm butchering that, that's on me.
Okay.
We'll report back with better pronunciation.
Exactly. He has been the one bright spot for Plainview this year. It's been a little bit of a rough season out there for the Bulldogs, but he's been really solid and something to build off for next year. He's a junior, and try to go get eyes on him and see if we can get him going a little bit on recruiting. And then tomorrow night is a content-filled game for Greg Powers and I, as Alito will travel over the Wildman for Arlington Seguin. So haven't seen Alito. I'm breaking a rule. I usually wait to see them until the playoffs.
It's usually a good rule.
Yeah.
Basically, aside from Timberview and District.
Right.
Yeah.
And So I'm gonna go watch them play Seguin tomorrow. Seguin's got a couple guys, so they might push them a little bit. It's gonna be an uphill climb, but it'll be a good game. So
Let me ask you: have you seen Lovejoy this year?
I have not,
Okay.
but I kind of think they might be the kings of
Region
Region
two.
2. And I know Alito people are probably listening to this, and I just
Well,
Steph-
Steph,
Yeah, you're gonna get stuff
but-
thrown at you at the game tomorrow.
I am
Lovejoy's good.
I'm of the opinion that the Ric Flair principle, be the man, beat the man, woo.
That was a weak woo.
that was
more statement
bit of
than
a
an
half
exclamation.
woo.
Yeah, don't half your woo there.
I'm taking Alito until I'll just look wrong. I'm just happy to look wrong, dying with the team that's got 10 titles. You know what I mean? It's in a lot of ways.
Yeah, but you never go against a streak. That's a big Roach Frazier
Yeah.
statement. We always
Yeah.
say you can't go against a streak.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, it was kind of like
It was like with
when-
Allen in Atascocita, you didn't go against the streak.
okay. You know what it was like? It was like last year, Ryan in Highland Park.
Okay.
Same thing. I'm just
Yeah.
like, why would I I can't take, even though I'm looking at this, I'm like, Ryan looks like the better team. Like Ryan, everything about them says it should be. I'm like, I'm just gonna take Highland Park because
Can't pick against us Scotties.
because you just look dumb.
We find the way, baby.
Scotty's find a way.
And that
anything
game was
Saturday?
interesting. Like, you
Yeah,
know,
no,
if,
it was-
if
it was-
Braden doesn't break his jaw, I don't know if they win it, but it is interesting that, the defense did their part. They held Ryan to no points in the second half, but the offense just, for once in Highland Park's history lately, has kind of sputtered out a little bit.
What,
But that's hats off to Ryan. But this year will be interesting too.
It will be interesting. Region. Sorry, we will get to the show.
Region 2 and 5A D2 and D1 this year. Both
I think
good.
D1 Region 2 somehow is even better than it has been the past couple of
You
years.
think?
You know what it is? It's College Station.
Yes.
Like that's the difference. Like because
They're the
past
dark
years,
horse.
it's been like
Lufkin.
it's like you've had a team in there and
that could
lo-
cause
long-
chaos,
like,
but
like it's
Lancaster.
usually Longview, Highland Park, Ryan, and Lone Star, right? And College Station, especially last year, is like they were okay, but maybe a year away. This year, cooking with gas, and it's like
Reminds me of what would have been 2018, I think, when Highland
Yeah.
Park and College Station met in the area round down at Waco ISD. Super windy day, just like it is outside right now. God, it's blowing a gale. But that was a really good College Station team, too. But everything you've told me so far when we've seen each other a couple times this year is that they're cooking.
oh, dude.
And
they're
coming.
Dude, they're just the
we could
thing
see
is,
it at 7-on-7. We were like, oh,
well,
they've
and
added.
that Slanker kid, the wide receiver, and then they got a I love a coach's kid at quarterback, right? You know,
Got a
Jet
tight
Jet
end that
Huff.
I really like, too.
Oh yeah, he's huge.
They've
his
got
name escapes me
lanky
at the moment.
Seen
lanky
him in a
receivers
couple
on the
camps.
outside,
Yeah.
and then that tight
Just
end.
committed to Kansas.
They got cats, and so anyway, you got anything Saturday?
Saturday, I will be at the Texas game,
Oh.
which, if anybody knows, I'm a Baylor grad, which is kind of strange because I'm the biggest Texas guy you'll ever meet. But so I'll be in Waco at my alma mater wearing orange and white.
Oh my gosh, will you please do this? Will you please do the split jersey?
No. No.
He
There's
tries
not
to
an
get
ounce of green and gold in
everybody.
me. When I graduated at the graduation ceremony, everybody walks, and at the end they start playing the alma mater. And I turned to this chick that was on the volleyball team that I had a couple classes with, and we just kind of became friends. And she goes, well, are you going to sing the song? And I was like, I don't know the song. And she was like, what are you going to do then? And I just put up the eyes and started singing away, And that was, back in 2018 or whatever?
Ah, yes,
So,
you're extremely old.
Yeah. Just turned 26 last week, so, yeah.
Happy birthday. you
There you
big
go.
schmuck. All right, it's Guy Frazier.
for having me on.
What's the Twitter handle?
At Uncle Fraz. Uncle, and then F-R-A-Z, the first four letters of my last name.
Follow Guy.
I got the little squid octopus emoji. That's how you find me.
That's objectively true.
Okay.
We're squidrific.
Just look for the squid.
Squid.
emoji. Hit the theme expo. Let's go. Yes, y'all. From the Dave Campbell's Texas Football Mothership here in beautiful Lewisville, Texas. It's Texas Football Today, a show on the internet. Excuse me. My name's Greg Tepper. I'm the managing editor of Dave Campbell's Texas Football, a magazine, TexasFootball.com, a corresponding website. Thank you for spending part of your day with us. Whether you're watching us live on TexasFootball.com, Facebook, YouTube, or Twitch, or you listen to us on the podcast, which you can subscribe to on the podcast vendor of your choice. Either way, thank you for doing your part to support your local, mediocre internet show. I am sitting over there at the helm today, making us sound good. She's the Duchess of the Dorks. She's Ashley Pickle.
Howdy, team.
How are you?
Good. It feels like it's like 3 o'clock in the afternoon with how much we've been running around.
Yeah, it does.
Like, it does not feel like it's noon.
Yeah. So, there you go. Today is Thursday, October 26, 2021. 28 days till Thanksgiving. Happy birthday to Julia Roberts.
Oh, nice.
Episode 1271. On today's show, guys, we have got the Butt Group Guide. We're going to tell you what to watch, how to spend your entire weekend on the couch this weekend. It'll be fun. Then we are going to roll out the picks, my high school football predictions for Week 10 of the Texas high school football season. And we'll round it all out by talking a little college football with our college football burning questions. Do we have first four through the door?
We sure do. It was Coach Terry Crawford,
8-0 Abbott Panthers.
Rob Hadaway, Tony Blaylock, and Aaron Arbuckle. Welcome in, fellas.
Welcome in, my friends. Are we going to do Butt Group Guide first?
Yeah.
All right. It's time to tell you how to spend your entire weekend on the couch. And that's what we're here to do. We're here to tell you how to spend your entire weekend on the couch.
With the Butt Groove Guide.
The Butt Groove Guide. So here's how it works. We are working out of the assumption that you have 3 screens at your availability, a television, a computer, and a phone.
Mm-hmm.
If you got more than that,
become a subscriber.
Cool. Good for you. But we will have a lot to get to here because it's a big, loaded week of games on Texan Live, as well as college action across the state of Texas. So let's start tonight, Thursday.
Dateline.
6 o'clock on Texan Live. You can listen to Trevor Bullard call Katie and Katie Taylor. Now, Katie's a favorite in this game, but if you want to get some eyes on them before the season, before we get to the playoffs, certainly keep an eye on that one. Over at Pridgeon, Tom Venny is going to have Cy Woods and Cy Springs. That is going to be an important game there in that kind of wild District 16-6A.
And with all respect to Tom and Trevor there, clear out the big screen because at 6:30, we've got Cy Ranch and Cy Park. Michael Silver's on the call, but our very own Greg Tepper making his color commentary debut tonight. Go heckle him.
Look at that.
Look at him. Are you so excited?
I did some research and everything.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm excited. It'll be fun. Michael Silvers and I have been talking a lot, and we're excited about it. I just realized the game kicks at 6:30, so I got to hurry.
Yeah. But yeah, clear the decks. Here's your Butt Groove Guide, 6:30, big screen. Hear Tepper's dulcet tones. That way we can all make fun of him on Monday with how he did. Are you excited? You are?
I am excited. No,
Good.
I'm really excited to do the game. Very excited.
Here's a question, because this is how it was for me, because that last time was my color commentary debut. It was really weird at this portion of doing broadcasting stuff to be doing something that I had never done before. Is it that way for you as well?
So I have done a little bit of color.
Uh-huh.
In fact, I did some color on ESPN at one point with the International Bowl, which was USA Football's kind of big showcase at AT&T Stadium. They were looking for literally a warm body.
Right.
And so I've done it a little bit. It's difficult. It's a different muscle memory, as I've told you. To me, I'm always of the opinion that, and I think you're kind of wired the same way. Just research, know these teams in and out, know everything that you're supposed to do, ask a bunch of questions, sound dumb to the coach.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
And just get as much information as you can. That's going to help lead you to a better broadcast, and hopefully preparation will make up for any sort of
Absolutely.
lack of talent.
Well, and it's funny because what I realized after, you do the first half and then you're like, oh, man, I didn't even have to think about what I was saying because it's all right there.
Right.
I'm so excited to watch. LP and I will be watching.
Well, that's very kind of you. I will also tell you another game to keep an eye on tonight. 7 o'clock at Buckley Stadium. Tommy Yarish on the call on Texan Live. Belton and Killeen Shoemaker. Okay, Belton's at 3-2 in District 12 6A. Shoemaker's at 2-3. Belton can clinch a playoff spot with a win. Shoemaker can throw a wrench in the spokes if they want to go out there and pull what would be, I would say, a small upset. That game is at Shoemaker. A lot on the line there, so if you're into that kind of thing, then make sure you're there. Friday!
Dateline!
6 o'clock, you've got Katy Maid Creek and Katy Seven Lakes at Legacy, if you're into that kind of thing. 7 o'clock's when things get really serious. Okay, big screen. I want you to do Katy, Pato, and Manville.
Mm-hmm.
Pato, of course, sent a big message last week with their just slobber-knocking win over Fort Bend Hightower. If they beat Manville tonight, and especially if they beat Manville like they did with Hightower, watch stinkin' out. Things could get very, very interesting there, and you could start talking about them in big, big, big terms. So keep an eye on that one. That game I want you to put on the big screen. On your second screen, and I can't believe I'm saying this, I want you to have a Atascocita and North Shore on your second screen. I know.
What a wild week.
I know. That game's going to be awesome. Your mileage may vary. If you're more into 6A and 5A, those are the top two. Those are the two you got to have.
Absolutely.
Got to make sure you have that. I probably don't need to tell you that Atascocita and North Shore is going to be awesome. It's going to be a lot of fun. So keep an eye on that one.
And I think we'll have highlights from both of those games with like sound from the coaches and everything on Valley Sports Southwest too, if you want to catch up on one of them.
So things get interesting from there. On your third screen, I'm going to give you a couple of options, okay? On your third screen, you can do Clear Springs and Dickinson. It's a massive week on Texan Live, guys. Clear Springs and Dickinson. You can do Magnolia West and New Caney. That game's huge. You can also do Shadow Creek and Pearland, which is huge. You can also do, at 7:30, the weirdo Week 10 non-district game between Wimberley and Grapevine.
That was a makeup game, yeah. It was supposed to be Wimberley's bye week, and they added it literally Tuesday.
Mm-hmm. Both teams had an open date, because I think they got canceled on. And they were like, you want to go? You want to meet in Belton? So they're going to go there. They're going to go down there or Belton, Robinson, somewhere.
Yeah, they're in Belton. Or Robinson. It got switched to Robinson.
Yeah. So keep an eye on that one. That one's, incredible. You also got Klein Collins and Tomball Memorial. So, look, Texas City P&G, I mean,
it's a remote clicker.
ludicrous week. I need you to be locked into Pato and Manville. I also need you to be locked into North Shore and Atascocita. The other three, the other third screen, you got your pick. Also, make sure you have a screen set aside for Valley Sports Southwest.
Yes.
There you go.
Great. Good job.
Saturday!
Dateline.
It's a fun Saturday. Of course, 11 a.m., I need you to kick things off watching Texas and Baylor.
Yes.
Texas and Baylor is an 11 a.m. kick. That game is on the A, B, and C. And so I need you to go watch that one at 11. I believe there's one other game at 11.
Yeah, it's Tech.
No, it's Texas State and Louisiana.
Oh, okay.
You don't need to watch it. That game is on ESPNU for your edification if that is your type of thing, if you're a glutton for punishment. 1 o'clock's where things get interesting, okay? You got Cy Fair and Cy Ridge on Texan Live, and you got Houston Memorial and Cy Creek. You can do that. 1 o'clock, you also have
North Texas and Rice.
You got the Sickos Bowl. Okay?
Yes.
Got this week's Sickos Bowl. Sickos Bowl. You can also watch Howard Payne and Hardin Simmons.
Yeah, that's the game to watch.
That game's on HPUsports.com. You can watch that one. 2 o'clock's where things get a little bit hairy because I absolutely positively need you to be watching Tomball and Klein Kane. That game's at 2 o'clock on with Gavin Moritz on the call. I think Magnolia and New Caney Porter could be fun too. Both those games are at 2 o'clock on Texan Live. 2:30. So here's the thing at 2:30. If you want to watch an anxiety bowl, you can watch TCU and Kansas State. Mm-hmm. If you want to see Sonny Cumby's head coaching debut, you can watch Tech in Oklahoma. Both those games are both those games are 2:30. I don't know if I can highly recommend either of them. TCU and Kansas State probably is going to be the more competitive game, but it's a huge anxiety bowl because if they lose this game, they are really, really swimming upstream to make a bowl.
So basically, you should watch the high school games because those are the last games of the day on Texan Live.
5 o'clock, UTEP goes to FAU.
Let's go.
Picks up, as you will see in our our college football burning questions. UTEP has not fared well in the Eastern Time Zone. We'll see how things go.
They can make a history
FAU.
with.
Let's go, Miners. And then, of course, you got to clear out. Okay, you got to call ISO.
Yeah.
I don't care what you're doing. 6 o'clock, the big screen is reserved.
Yes.
ESPN2, Houston, and SMU. Houston and SMU is the game of the week by a long shot.
Yes.
And I think the winner of this game is probably the favorite to win the American Athletic Conference. I think it is a tremendous matchup of strengths and weaknesses in the sense that can these two secondaries, the SMU secondaries has especially been troublesome. Houston's secondary is only okay. Going up against all quarterbacks who are really feeling it right now. Strength on strength matchup with the offensive line for SMU going up against defensive line for front seven rather for Houston. Awesome game. It's a pick'em game. It is on ESPN2. You need to clear out and make sure you're watching Houston and SMU on ESPN2. The Deuce, 6 p.m. on Saturday. And that is how you can spend your entire weekend sitting on your couch.
But Groove Guide.
We're at Texas Football Today. We're here every weekday at noon on TexasFootball.com, talking football in the Lone Star State. You can follow us on Twitter at DCTF, like us on Facebook, Facebook.com/Dave Campbell's. Follow us on Instagram, Instagram.com/Dave Campbell's, and of course, see us at TexasFootball.com. TexasFootball.com is where you can find complete coverage of high school football, college football, and recruiting all across the Lone Star State. Pickle, let's talk a little bit about our friends, the North Texas Honda Dealers. Dave Campbell's Texas Football has partnered with the North Texas Honda Dealers to honor community helpers from across North Texas. Texas is so fortunate to have so many great individuals that give back to their communities in so many different ways. Thanks to the support of the helpful North Texas Honda Dealers, we have an opportunity to shine a light on a few of these very deserving individuals. This week, we are honoring Larry Venable, representing Garland High School. Larry, thank you for being helpful in your community, and thank you to the North Texas Honda Dealers for helping us honor you. Same thing with Steve Maynard over at Irving High. We appreciate you and everything you do in the community there at Irving High School. And thanks to the North Texas Honda Dealers for giving us an opportunity to shine a light on some very deserving, helpful North Texas Honda Dealers, their community helpers out there. So for more information, visit TexasFootball.com and what makes them worthy of being honored with this special, special honor. Pickle, we got another thing to talk about. Takis is the presenting sponsor of the Dave Campbell's Texas Football Sustainability Champions Award, spotlighting influential kids looking to pursue a career focused in the social, environmental, and economic well-being of our future. Today's Spotlight game features Rowlett taking on Garland. It's a big battle in Garland ISD. Yeah. And we will be spotlighting two Sustainability Champions Award winners, Julian Brown-Griffin over at Rowlett and Keoja Johnson at Garland. Congratulations to them, the Dave Campbell's Texas Football Sustainability Champions Award. And thanks to Takis for helping us honor these young people and what they do with their future, with the social, environmental, and economic well-being of our future. That's the Takis Sustainability Champions Award. Presented by Dave Campbell's Texas Football.
Before we go to the next segment real fast, I want to throw out there that if you're looking for another thing to watch on Friday, you can watch those 8-0 Abbott Panthers on the NFHS network.
Oh.
They'll have a stream of the game.
Who's Abbott play this week?
Aquila.
Ooh. That's
so 7:30 Friday. Devote a screen.
Yeah, you can watch a little six-man action.
Yeah.
Watch the unbeaten state-ranked Abbott Panthers.
How about that?
Pickle! Week 10 of the Texas high school football season is nigh upon us. It kicks off in just a few hours. There's a lot of people out there who think, Tepper, why do you keep making predictions on these games?
I think that.
And I say, it's in my contract, I guess. I'm supposed to. Here's the picks for Week 10 of the Texas high school football season here on Texas Football Today.
Just 2 weeks left in the Texas high school football regular season. These are the biggest games yet. These are the picks. Welcome into the Picks, your guide to the Texas high school football weekend. My name is Greg Tepper of Dave Campbell's Texas Football and TexasFootball.com. Thank you so much for tuning in. Double digits here, Week 10 of the 2021 Texas high school football season, and down the stretch we come. We are just 2 weeks away from unveiling the brackets for the 2021 Texas high school football playoffs, and you can sense that anticipation. You can sense that maybe nervousness for some teams who are trying to fight their way in, trying to fight their way towards district championships. A ton on the line in Week 10 and in Week 11, but first things first, we got huge games this week. We start in Iowa Colony. 7 o'clock Friday night at Freedom Field in Iowa Colony. It's the District 11 5A Division I showdown between the Katy Pato Panthers and the Manville Mavericks. Where are the keys to this matchup? Key number one, trench warfare. So I think that for all the skill position guys in this game's really going to be won up front, especially when Manville has the ball. I think their offensive line has really grown into themselves, led by Tevin Shaw. I think that this offensive line for Manville is playing their best football right now, but they're going to get a big test this week, going up against Damian Sanford, Alexander Kilgore, and what is a very ferocious front seven for Katy Paetow. The Paetow defense really sets a tone for the Panthers, but the Mavericks offensive line is playing their best ball yet. So, when trench warfare takes place, which team wins out? Key number 2, Manville's balance. So the offense for this Mavericks team is, I think, really remarkable in that they can beat you in a lot of different ways. DeMonte Seymour is the star running back for this Mavericks team, and he is going to tote the mail, a guy that Paetow is going to have to keep an eye on every single play. But I also think that junior quarterback Caden Smith has stepped up in a big way, really grown into the role. I think that he is playing some of his best football right now, and what you saw last week in their big win, I think, is indicative of what you can expect this week. This is an offense that is really humming, and they really feed off of each other, right? You know, the play-action game is really important to what Manville wants to do, get a couple of their receivers loose in the secondary because you take one wrong step. So, can Paetow make Manville one-dimensional, or will the Mavericks exude that kind of balance that's made them so good? And key number 3, Paetow's coming out party. So, Katy Paetow is in their 4th year of playing varsity football, and they're no stranger to success. The past couple of seasons, they've gone a combined 17-5. They'd be really good. But this year feels different, and it started last week when they took on Fort Bend Hightower and absolutely drilled the Hurricanes. That was a top 10 Fort Bend Hightower team, and they took them to the woodshed. It was awfully, awfully impressive. And now they've got an opportunity to do it to a perennial power there in Manville and win their first ever district championship. And look, I think if they win this game, you can make an argument that they're one of the favorites to make it to Arlington in 5A Division I. Coming out of Region 3, I think that District 11 is probably the power nexus in Region 3. I think Region 3 will probably be favored over the winner of Region 4, and at that point, you're talking about punching your ticket to AT&T Stadium. There's a lot on the line here. That means a lot of pressure for Katy Paetow, and they've never been in a position like this. So, how do the Panthers handle their big moment on the big stage? Who am I picking? I'm going with Paetow. I'm a believer. I think the Panthers have a legit chance to win the 5A Division I state championship, and I think they start to prove it this week against Manville, simply because they can do a little bit of everything, right? What they did last week defensively was extremely impressive, but also quarterback C.J. Dumas had a fantastic game, and they're able to run the ball pretty darn well. Now look, Manville is the team that's been here, done that, right? They've played for state championships. They're the type of team that when this big moment arrives, they arrive with it. But I think this year may be different. I think this Paetow team is something special. I think the Panthers bring home a big win. So there are 5 matchups of unbeatens in the UIL ranks this week, so why don't we just talk about all of them? Let's start 7:30 p.m. Friday night at Tiger Stadium in Dripping Springs as the Dripping Springs Tigers welcome in the Buda Johnson Jaguars, and what a story Buda Johnson is. In just their 2nd varsity season, they have been absolutely outstanding. Their quarterback, Jesse Medina, has led a high-flying offense, but last week it was the defense against Seguin that stepped up big, led by Ashton Strasser. Now, that defense is going to have to be even better this week against one of the most explosive offenses in all of 5A, with Dripping Springs led by quarterback Austin Novosad. This is going to be a really interesting matchup, and I think it comes down to who can get the most stops because these two offenses can really put up numbers. For now, I think Drip gets the win. 7:30 p.m. Friday night at Royce City ISD Stadium. The District 8 5A Division II title is on the line in a battle of unbeatens between the Ennis Lions and the Royce City Bulldogs. Royce City has not won a district title since 2007. Ennis has won 5 since then. And look, this is what Ennis does. They look like a Sam Harrell coached ball club. The offense is playing exceptionally well with Jackson Gilkey and a running back, D. Johnson. But they're going up against a high-powered and explosive Royce City attack led by outstanding quarterback Kenneth Spring and a big-time playmaker in Jonah Roberson. They have a big-time connection that Ennis is going to have to find a way to slow down. But Ennis is always great because their line is so good, okay? They always win up front, and that is where Royce City is going to have to match them physically up front. I think this game is close, comes down to the wire, but I do think that Ennis brings home a victory. 2 o'clock Saturday afternoon at Tully Stadium in Houston. It's a battle of unbeatens for the District 17 6A crown as Houston Stratford takes on Jersey Village. Yeah, Houston Stratford and Jersey Village are both 8-0. Did you know that? They're flying way under the radar. And by the way, as far as regular season games are concerned, this has got to be the biggest game at Tully Stadium in a decade, It's been a minute, right, since they've had this kind of high-profile game. But two great stories here, and I think that on paper, these two teams are pretty similar, right? I think they both have great underclassmen quarterbacks. Nash Rankin for Stratford going up against Adam Tran for Jersey Village, the sophomore. They've got playmaking defenses and good, sound coaching on both sides of the ball. I think the big question is, can Stratford match up to the team speed against Jersey Village? That's going to be the real key in this one. I think this game's pretty much a coin flip, but you know what? I'm feeling the Spartans. Give me Stratford. 7 o'clock Friday night at Robert Nail Memorial Stadium in Albany. The District 8-2A Division II title is on the line as the unbeaten Albany Lions take on the unbeaten Santo Wildcats. What a story for Santo. 8-0 for the first time since 1994, looking for their first district title since then, and they're doing it with defense. Guys like Elijah Pennington and Sam Henderson leading this defensive charge. They are also stars on the flexbone offense that has made Santo so dangerous. You know, for Albany, Denny Faith's Lions just bobbing along, happy to fly under the radar, but they're undefeated and they have been mashing people. Quarterback Cole Chapman has really emerged as a star for this Lions team, and their defense, per usual, is outstanding, allowing just 5.1 points per game. For Santo, I think what they need to do is go on long, sustained drives, keep the ball away from Albany, and come up with some big defensive stops. I actually think this game has a chance to be pretty low scoring, but at home, Albany's awful hard to beat, especially with the district title on the line. Give me the Lions. And 7:30 p.m. Friday night at Owl Stadium in Odom. It's the District 16 3A Division II title game. As the Odom Owls welcome in the Hebronville Longhorns. Let's talk about the quietest 9-0 team in the state. That's Odom. The Owls have rang off 9 straight in their first 9 weeks of the season, looking to polish off a perfect 10-0 year, and you can see what makes them so dangerous. It is the running game, led by Marcus Martinez and Hunter Dawson. The running game is averaging 327 yards per game on the ground. Pretty impressive. They're going up against a Hebronville team that first caught our eye a couple of weeks ago when they knocked off Taft in their district opener, and since then, it's been steady as she goes in the slot T, led by Joshua Almaraz at the running back spot. He is the real straw that stirs the drink for them. They also have a bend, don't break defense. They're going to need to win the turnover battle in this one, I think, because otherwise, Odom will just grind people into dust. I think this game's going to go by really fast because these are two outstanding running teams, but I do think Odom finishes off a 10-0 record. Give me the Owls. But those are far from the only big games in Week 10 of the Texas high school football season. Let's get to the lightning round. I like Allen over Prosper. Huge game on the Coastal Bend this week. I like Corpus Christi Veterans Memorial over Corpus Christi Flower Bluff. And I'm going to take A&M Consolidated to beat Brian Rudder. Two teams looking to bounce back after tough losses last week. I like Cy Park over Cy Ranch. Huge rivalry game in Dallas ISD. I like South Oak Cliff over Dallas Kimball. And give me Argyle to take down Kaufman. Edinburgh Vela polishes off a 10-0 season with a win over Mission. Give me El Paso Austin over El Paso Jefferson. And I like Belleville to stay perfect with a win over Lamarck. Friona over Spearman. Give me Gladewater to take down Sabine. And I like Bernie Champion over Floresville. Huge games in 3A. I like Grandview over West. Give me Hallettsville over Columbus. And I'm going with Brock over Peaster. Harlingen South stays perfect with a win over Weslaco. Give me Henrietta just barely over Callisburg. And I'm going to go with Cuero to take down Smithville. Louisville beats Flower Mound Marcus in the Battle of the Axe. Give me Midland Greenwood over Snyder. And I like Dickinson over Clear Springs. I like Midland Legacy over San Angelo Central. Mount Vernon stays perfect with a win over Pottsboro. And did I mention it's a huge week in Houston? It's a huge week in Houston. I like Galena Park North Shore in a close one over Atascocita. I like Orangefield over Hampshire Finette, Poth over Natalia, and I like Magnolia West to get by New Caney. Roscoe takes down Lockney. Smithson Valley bounces back with a win over San Antonio East Central, and Quinlan Ford stays perfect with a win over Caddo Mills. Stephenville stays perfect with a win over Midlothian Heritage. I like Stratford to beat Vega, and Refugio stays undefeated with a win over Kennedy. I'm going with Timpson over Joaquin. Give me Vanderbilt Industrial in a close one over Edna, and a massive game in the Alamo City. I like San Antonio Johnson in a close one over San Antonio Reagan. Ton of speed in this one. I like Wascom over Elysian Fields. Wichita Falls Ryder gets by Canyon Randall, and Texas City gets by Ports Neches Groves. I'm going with Windthorst over Petrolia, and Toller beats Bosqueville. Viter goes to 8-0 with a win over Huffman Hargrave, and in our 6-man game of the week, I like Hermley over Ira. And those are the picks. What am I wrong about? Which games I leave out? Leave comments down below. Don't forget that subscribe button. Follow us on Twitter at DCTF. Like us on Facebook, facebook.com/Dave Campbell's. Follow us on Instagram, instagram.com/Dave Campbell's. And, of course, see us at texasfootball.com. Thanks for watching. Enjoy Week 10 of the Texas high school football season. We'll see you. There it is, the picks, my high school football predictions for Week 10 of the 2021 Texas high school football season. That is up on YouTube if you missed any of it. And as always, I guarantee I got at least one of those right. And don't complain that I didn't cover a particular region, because I promise you I did. Like, go back and look. I promise you I go through and I pick at least one game from every region. Anyway, now time to get ready for a big week in college football by answering some burning questions for Week 9 of the college football season. Pickle, where are we starting?
We are starting with a Big 12 matchup as Texas takes on number 16 Baylor in Waco, 11 a.m. on Saturday. What is the showcase matchup Saturday morning in Waco?
You hate to just make it about superstars, but it really is about what Baylor does with Bijan Robinson. Mm-hmm. This is in Baylor's lone loss on the year to Oklahoma State. They had a lot of trouble slowing down the running game for Oklahoma State, and they were able to grind out these long drives. That is kind of what Texas is in many ways built to do right now, especially now that they're depleted at the wide receiver core. You get the feeling that they want to line it up and run it at them. Can Baylor slow down Bijan Robinson in this running game enough to keep them in it? You know, Texas is coming off of a bye week. You would think that would give them a little bit of extra oomph in this game. But McLean Stadium has not exactly been friendly to them. Mm-hmm. It's a really interesting matchup. What's the line, 3? I might be inclined to take Texas in this one. Maybe not outright, but at least take the +3, simply because coming off of a bye week with a team, with a special player like Bijan Robinson, who feels like the kind of guy that Baylor has had some trouble with this year, that would, to me, indicate that I would lean towards Texas in this one. Fascinating matchup. And by the way, also, let's see if Texas's defense can wake up and make a couple of plays in this one against a Baylor offense that looks like it's figured things out. So I think it should be fun.
That's the other thing. Not only are they coming off a bye week, but after coming off the heartstrings of their previous 2 games, you have to think that Sarkisian is saying, okay, we need to wake up, and this is a ranked opponent, regardless of if it's Baylor or not.
Yeah, it's one of those things that it's the number 16 team in the country, and you can go out there and really get your season kind of back on track with a win. Mm-hmm. What's next, Pickle?
Up next, let's go to Texas State at Louisiana. The line on this one, 21.5, 11 a.m. on Saturday. Can Texas State hold Louisiana under 225 rushing yards?
It's going to be tough.
Yeah,
it's going to be tough. This is
I don't know.
Billy Napier's squad there at Louisiana is a run-based offense, and they've got a number of guys that they're going to give the ball to, and kind of that. It's a bit of an option type thing. Everything's a bit of an option type team offense at this point. But they're going to run the ball really effectively, and Texas State has not been good against the run, and that's going to be really the challenge for Texas State, is finding some sort of stops defensively. Furthermore, Louisiana's defense is pretty good, and it's
at Louisiana.
And it's at Louisiana. Texas State's offense has really just had trouble with consistency, and so it's hard to think that Texas State can do something good in this game. Going up against a Sun Belt contender, a bona fide Sun Belt contender. I like Louisiana. 21.5 might be a little bit rich for me, but
it also wouldn't be necessarily surprising.
Would not necessarily be surprising if they were to go out there and hang 38-10 on them or something like that. All right, what's next, Pickle?
How about the most exciting game that we could ever draw up here? North Texas at Rice. 1 p.m. on Saturday on ESPN3. Spread is 2.5. Who is this game more important to, North Texas or Rice? And this is ew. You have to be a sicko to watch this game.
This is
and guess who is a sicko?
This is the Sicko Bowl of the week. Listen to Republic of Football. They have a nice breakdown of this game.
Oh, yeah, I'm sure.
So who needs it more? So here's the thing. For North Texas, I think, I don't know if they've hit rock bottom. I don't know if they've hit rock bottom.
This could
if
be
they
rock
were
bottom.
to lose to Rice, that might be rock bottom. And that's not to say that Rice is some trash team, because Rice is certainly trending in the right direction, coming off of that big win. Got to be brimming with confidence. Maybe they'll figure things out at the quarterback spot with Wiley Green. But this is an offense that has not been consistently good. going up against a defense that has been consistently butt. And yeah, something's got to happen. Like I don't know. This is actually a sicko bowl is actually a good way to put it, because it is actually intriguing in a weird, sick way. I like Rice. As far as who needs it more, I think Rice can kind of say, you know what, we're not just a flash in the pan. And furthermore, their bowl hopes are still alive.
Yeah, I was going to say, I think this is way more important for Rice. I think the cards have absolutely been laid on the table that North Texas not going bowling. North Texas probably getting a new coach after this year. Like, this seems like a done deal for North Texas. For Rice, it's like, hey, we could get some momentum actually going.
You get a win in this game, and you start thinking about bowl games.
Yeah.
So I would say it's more important for Rice, although for North Texas, if you want to avoid hitting rock bottom, you probably got to come out with a win.
Maybe losing your coach right then and there, you know?
Yeah, exactly. All right, what's next, Pickle?
Up next, our small school game of the week. Number 8, Hardin-Simmons at Howard Payne, 1 p.m. on Saturday. You can catch a stream of that one there. What does Howard Payne have to do to spring a big ASC upset?
So Howard Payne was one of the hottest teams in the state, one of the few undefeated teams before they lost last week. What's interesting, Hardin-Simmons is the number 8 team in the country. They had that lone loss to Mary Hardin-Baylor in a wild game. Mary Hardin-Baylor, either number 1 or number 2, I don't remember off the top of my head, in the country. But the funny thing is that Hardin-Simmons has actually struggled with the types of offenses that Howard Payne has. Got a great quarterback in Landon McKinney, the sophomore out of Sabine. This is an interesting matchup that if you are Howard Payne, you want to get this, kind of trick them into a shootout and say, why don't we just cut the brakes on this game and go nuts, because the strength of their team is going to be on the offensive side. And Hardin-Simmons has had trouble facing teams defensively against teams like Howard Payne. I like Hardin-Simmons in this one, but if they're going to spring the upset, it's going to start with Landon McKinney in that passing game, which has been humming for Howard Payne. Even in their loss, the offense has been pretty darn good. That's a big question to this one, is can they kind of dictate the terms of engagement in this game against Hardin-Simmons? Fun game, though, on HSUsports.com. HPUsports.com.
There you go.
What's next?
Up next, we head back to the Big 12 as Texas Tech takes on number 4 Oklahoma. Spread 19.5, 2:30 on Saturday. What is a reasonable expectation for Texas Tech the rest of the way? And if you haven't heard, their coach is no longer with them.
So Sonny Cumbie is the new interim coach for the rest of the year. One would think. They've said he's going to be the
that's
the year.
official.
Something would have to go horribly wrong for them to go for an interim. And yeah, the schedule's rough from here on out.
Yes.
It's real bad. It's real tough. And so I would say for Tech, it's to be competitive in all these games. I don't know if it's reasonable to expect them to go out there and spring an upset, plain and simple, because they're going to be underdogs in every one of the last few games. I think a reasonable expectation for them is to go out there and not get your doors blown off. I think, you know what, if you beat the spread in every one of your games, I would say that that's a pretty decent measuring stick.
Show us that you haven't quit just because you don't have a coach. Like, there has to be some sort of culture that someone can muster up there.
Yeah, this is a real gut check time for the players there, and for Sonny Cumbie, who presumably has hopes of, you know, maybe if things go well,
being in the conversation
for the head coaching job, right? He's certainly got the ties there to Tech and things like that. I think that the reasonable expectation is to be competitive, is to not go out there and get your doors blown off by Oklahoma and this game be 77-0. You know what I mean? Go out there and be competitive. Show that the culture is still okay. It's just that they need a leadership change.
Yeah, like
that's I think a
52-35. You know, like something.
Something like that. Exactly. Show a little bit of fight. What's next, Pickle?
Up next, we're sticking in the Big 12 as we go TCU at Kansas State, 3.5 on the spread, 2:30 p.m. on Saturday. Max Duggan, what is the over/under chances of 275.5 total yards?
Yeah, so I'm gonna, Kansas State's defense is not great, but they're I would say average, and so going up against this TCU attack, which again has not been the problem, I feel like they're probably the one thing that may limit Max Duggan in this game is I don't know how many possessions they're going to get, because the clear strategy for Kansas State, I would say, is to run the ball with Deuce Vaughn and then go on these long sustained drives, right? Knowing full well that you probably can against this TCU defense, go against and grind it out. It's just a number of possessions that he's going to get. I'm going to take over. I think he's going to get to about 290. I actually think TCU wins this game. I think they're just better.
Need to.
I think they're just better than Kansas State, and I think they're going to have a nice bounce back here. They need to, because otherwise things get real dark in Fort Worth, and it ain't just daylight savings. So yeah, I would say that I'm going to go over on 275.5. Not too much forward, somewhere between 275 and 300 is my guess for Max Duggan. What's next, Pickle?
Up next, on a stat where I know that you got it, we go over to Conference USA, UTEP at Florida Atlantic, 5 p.m. on Saturday. So UTEP is 0-25-1 all time in Eastern Time Zone. How do they get their first win? Is this credit of Adrian
Shout out
Broadus?
to our buddy Adrian Broadus.
I saw that.
ESPN 600 out there in El Paso, who tweeted this out, and
It's astonishing.
it is a genuinely unbelievable stat.
Yeah.
I actually can't believe it. That they have never won a game in the Eastern Time Zone. And so, yeah, how do they do it? Now, part of it is they just don't play, obviously, all time. They play 26 games in the Eastern Time Zone.
That's going 2 time zones over for them.
Exactly right. How do they do it? Well, a lot of it is going to have to start with their defense. Like, the way that UTEP is built right now is actually, you could give credit to Dana Dimmel, right? That this is kind of what he envisioned, is that hard-nosed playmaking defense that turns you over a lot, and then you get enough from your offense, right? And that's kind of the name of the game for them. Gavin Hardison has got to take care of the football. I think they got to be +2 or +3 in the turnover margin in this one, because FAU's a pretty decent team. This is probably the best team outside of Boise State. This is the best team that they faced. I also think there's a lot on the line in this one. They're coming off of a bye week, right? So 2 weeks to prepare. Hopefully they're able to go out there and feel good about it. It's a late enough kick that there shouldn't be that much of a time zone difference. That 11 a.m. kick might be a little bit weird.
Yeah, let's go ahead and line up at 9 o'clock in the morning.
9 a.m. body clock time. I think there's a lot on the line here, because I think if they win, they got a chance to host game day. Okay?
Seriously, because then
I think if
UTSA
they
comes
do,
to town.
right. A lot on the line. I am openly rooting for UTEP in this game, and I don't feel bad about it. I would love to see them spring the upset. It would certainly be an upset. They got to be, I think, +2 or +3 in the turnover margin. They do that and they're in business, but that's going to be the key for them. What is next, Pickle?
And finally, the actual game of the week here. Number 19 SMU going down to Houston to take on the Cougs. It's a pick'em game at 6 p.m. on Saturday, ESPN2. We got national TV there. Who do you got, Cougs or Ponies? Mike Craven will be at this one too. This is a banger, guys.
This is the game of the year so far in Texas.
This is clear your deck.
Yeah, this is set up and pay attention, go one screen on you. I've gone back and forth on this. I think what's really remarkable about this game is going to be the SMU offensive line against this Houston pass rush. Houston is number 3 in the country in sack rate. Number 3. SMU's offense is number 1 in the country in sack rate allowed. Okay, this is pure strength on strength. They do a great job of protecting Tanner Mordecai, right? The secondary, I still have some questions about overall, but what has really covered it up is that the pass rush, they've absolutely manhandled things up front with the pass rush. The question is going to be who wins up front there. I think I lean towards Houston. I think I lean towards Houston at home. I think they get a big win. I'm leaning towards the Cougs in a tight one. I think that pass rush is going to be the difference. I also think that the SMU defense, I still have some severe questions about, especially in the secondary.
Yeah,
I think Clayton Tune may be able to do little things about them if he's got enough time to do it. Fascinating game of the week by far. Lock in on ESPN2.
And it's so crazy because we literally were ready to put Houston to rest after week 1.
We were ready to body bag them.
Yeah.
Right? And
like,
now
Holgerson's gone. There's no culture.
And
now, then it's like, what?
And now I think that they may be the favorite to win the conference, especially if they win this game. Fascinating game. I'm going to take Houston by a field goal. I think it's super tight. Fascinating game. A lot comes down to whether or not Houston can get pressure on Tanner Mordecai. All right, there it is. There is our college football burning questions for week 9. That's going to do it for us. Thanks for spending a little bit of your day with us. Follow us on Twitter at DCTF. Like us on Facebook, facebook.com/Dave Campbell's. Follow us on Instagram, instagram.com/Dave Campbell's. And, of course, see us at TexasFootball.com. A reminder, no show tomorrow, so we will be back on Monday. For Ashley Pickle, I'm Greg Tepper. Vince Young, please come get your Player of the Year trophy. We'll see you Monday on Texas Football Today.